So Joseph is in prison because of the lies of Potiphar's wife. While in prison, in Pharaoh's prison, he meets with some certain officials, the cupbearer, Pharaoh's cupbearer, and the baker, who committed a crime and they were thrown in jail where Joseph was, and they dream. The cupbearer dreams, and Joseph interprets a dream that the cupbearer is going to be reinstated as his position as a cupbearer, to Pharaoh, and that one comes to pass. And the baker dreams, and his dream was that the baker is going to be killed, and he ends up being killed. And while Joseph is still in prison, after the cupbearer is reinstated in his position, he requests him to remember him, so that he can be taken out of jail. But he goes ahead and forgets, and after 2 years, God uses his divine plan. It's not easy to be in jail for 2 years, or even for a single day. The jail is not fun, but God, Joseph was fine in jail. He had favor with everybody, even God and the prisoners, and God was with him. God was over him. He's a savior. He is favored by God, and God is with him, and God's purpose has to come to pass through Joseph. Joseph has to save his children of Israel. It is in jail that Pharaoh dreams, and in dreams of 7 years, 7 years of dreams of 7 cows, about 7 cows who are thin and 7 cows who are fat. That the fat, the thin cows swallow the fat cows, and he doesn't know what it means. So it is during this kind of quantum, that kind of dilemma, that the cupbearer tells him that there's a Hebrew boy in prison who interpreted his dream, and it came to pass. So Pharaoh, summons Joseph. He's prepared in jail, washed up and dressed up well to go and meet the king. And Joseph interprets the dream of Pharaoh. It was that it's good to have 7 years of plenty and 7 years of drought in Egypt, and so Joseph advises Pharaoh that they have to save for 7 years all the produce. A third of everybody in Egypt have to bring the homage to Pharaoh, and so they can store food for 7 years, because we're going to have 7 years of drought, severe drought again. And Pharaoh, God causes favor with Pharaoh. This boy is a foreigner, he's a Hebrew, and he's a slave, and God promotes him. And the Pharaoh says, he gives him, the highest position. He's second in command in Egypt. The only reason why he could not be Pharaoh is because he was not born in Egypt, and he becomes the chief advisor of Pharaoh, and he's in charge of the the Department of Agriculture in that kind of country. So there were 7 years of plenty, and during those 7 years, everybody pays a third of food produce to Pharaoh, and Joseph builds up very many stores of the food, and after 7 years, the drought starts to come in, and the drought is so severe that his people. His father and his family. There's drought in Egypt. I mean, in Israel, and there's nothing to eat, and the people are starving. And if they're not going to go to Egypt where there's food, because their father says food in Egypt, they're going to starve to death. So what does Jacob do? Jacob sends his sons, and without Joseph's brother Benjamin, because he didn't lose another Joseph again. He's afraid of losing his youngest son, because Joseph is lost according to him. Joseph died. Did you know that it was a divine right plan of God to save his family and eventually save Israel? So his brothers goes to Egypt, and they're given some money to go and buy food. And Joseph, they come and Joseph recognizes them. They did recognize him, and he gives them food and takes the money back to them. And apparently they go back home, and they didn't know that the money they used to pay the food was put back in their food. They didn't know the trick. They didn't know the secret. But Joseph knew that he knew through them, after questioning them, that his father was alive, and he's concerned about the love he had for his father. He's concerned about his family, and they knew his family was well, and that's why he put his money back in their food baskets, in their donkeys, and they go back. They go back home, and they once they open up the sacks, they find the money, and they are astonished, and they were afraid of going back. So the father Jacob is a faithful man. He's a leader. He's a faithful man. He tells them that next time when the food is over, you have to take the money back. He gives them a double portion of the money to take back to Egypt to go and buy food. Go there, the food did not take long. There's a drought, and it's a big family, and they have to go and get some more food. So they go back to Egypt, and they are afraid of being told that they are thieves, because they didn't know exactly what happened. And Joseph, it's Joseph's idea. He's tricking them. So what happens is that they go and buy food, and Joseph this time welcomes them, and he dines with them, and he questions them, and he tells them that if they are not spies, he treats them like they are spies. What happens is that he puts his cap. He commands one of his guards to put one of his cap on one of the sacks, so that he can be remained. He can take hostage of one of his brothers, that with an effort of try to bring his family to Egypt. They know. So what happens that the plan works out well, and Joseph treats them well, and he ends up one of the sons of Jacob is left in Egypt, and because Joseph wanted very badly to see his brother Benjamin, and the trick was if it's true that Benjamin is alive, so then bring him with him, with like at least your brother. And it was very hard for them. They tried to convince him that his father was heartbroken by Joseph's death. They didn't know. They were talking to Joseph, and Joseph knew. They loved him, and he forgave them. There's an aspect of forgiveness in this kind of story, and the story is it's long, and is very divine, and there's divine connection in this story, and God is there. God is in the story. It's a God redemption power. God uses bad things and makes them good for those who love and trust Him. Joseph has been, the guy. His dream is coming true. His brother will eventually bow. He's trying to, they are bound to him. He's a king over them. He's giving them food. He's sustaining his family. They didn't recognize him, but Joseph recognizes them. So eventually, to cut the story short, his brother is eventually brought back, and eventually his father comes, and his entire family. Joseph ends up saving his own family. And he invites them to Egypt with Pharaoh's permission, and they are given the best part of Egypt, where they live and prosper, and they become so numerous that even after many years, and after Joseph's death, the Egyptians become they are afraid of them, because they are too numerous. God blesses Israel so much that they are too numerous, are so prosperous in everything, in wealth and health and in population, that the Egyptians start fearing them. So it is in this kind of situation that the Pharaoh, another Pharaoh comes in and who doesn't know Israel, and it becomes and tries to get rid of them. So the